So, are you about to start your career, or maybe you're already in that first job? No matter where you are, there's this huge question mark hanging over everything. What in the world does AI mean for you? Is it going to be this amazing tool that makes your life easier, or is it a threat that could, make your job disappear? Today, we're going to cut through all that noise and see what the data actually says about AI and the future of your first job.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a number that should really make you sit up. 66%. Get this, that's how many global companies are already planning to hire fewer entry-level people specifically because of AI. And this isn't some pie-in-the-sky prediction for 10 years from now. Nope, this is happening as we speak, and it is completely changing the game for anyone who's just starting out.
And this corporate shift isn't happening in a vacuum. It's creating some very real anxiety. A recent survey found that nearly half, almost 1 out of every 2 students, feels like they are not prepared for a workplace that's filled with AI. So if you're feeling a little bit of that uncertainty, trust me, you are so not alone. The real question is, what's actually going on here?
And that brings us right to the heart of the whole debate. Is AI just straight up eliminating jobs, or is it setting off this massive reshuffle of the entire job market? Well, the truth, as it usually is a little more complicated than that.
The sheer scale of this change is kind of mind-boggling. The World Economic Forum projects that by 2030, a whopping 92 million jobs could be displaced by AI. But, and this is a really big but, in that exact same time frame, they expect 78 million new jobs will be created. So you see, it's not just about jobs being lost, it's about the entire market being fundamentally rewired.
Now, it's really important to add a little bit of nuance here. Because as analysts like Hesse Jones from Forbes point out, AI isn't the only thing going on. The slump in hiring for entry-level jobs, that actually started before generative AI really took off, mostly driven by all those economic shifts after the pandemic. So think of it this way. AI is basically pouring gasoline on a fire that was already burning.
But here's something we really need to pay attention to. This transformation is not affecting everyone equally, not even close. A report from the Brookings Institution uncovered a pretty stark reality. Of all the workers and jobs that are most exposed to AI, the ones who would have the hardest time finding a new role, a shocking 86% of them are women. So why is that? Well, it's largely because women are overrepresented in jobs like administration and clerical work, which just happen to be the very jobs that are easiest to automate.
And that disproportionate impact, it really highlights a critical point. Surviving and thriving in this new landscape isn't going to be random. So if the old jobs are changing and all these new ones are popping up, what does it actually take to succeed? Well, this brings us to a huge fundamental shift in the job market, the rise of what's being called the new skills economy. Just look at this. Only 5% of companies now say a college degree is a mandatory requirement for their entry-level jobs. Let that sink in. That is a massive, massive change from just a handful of years ago. The writing is on the wall. The focus has moved from credentials to what you're actually capable of. So, what this all boils down to is this. We are now officially in an era of skills-based hiring. It's not so much about where you went to school or what fancy degree you have. It's about what you can actually do. And that right there is the dominant trend defining the job market right now.
Okay, so what specific skills are we talking about? On the technical side, it's probably no surprise that anything AI-related is at the top of the list. We're talking about a solid understanding of generative AI, data strategy, business analytics, cybersecurity, and this thing called machine learning operations, which is basically all about how you build and maintain AI systems in the real world. These are the hard skills companies are literally hiring for right now.
But wait, it's not all about the tech. In fact, you could argue that what's becoming even more valuable are the so-called soft skills. The human-centric skills that AI just can't replicate very well. Things like resilience and adaptability, being able to collaborate with others, communicating clearly, and of course, the big ones,
critical thinking, and creativity. In a world run by AI, these human skills, they're your superpower.
So you see the problem, right? There's this massive gap between the skills people have and the skills that companies desperately need. And that has created this urgent need for strategies to get the current and future workforce up to speed.
Now, you're going to hear two key terms thrown around a lot here: reskilling and upskilling. They sound kind of similar, but the difference is actually really important. Upskilling is all about getting better at the job you already have. Reskilling, on the other hand, is about learning a whole new set of skills so you can pivot into a completely different role, or maybe even a new industry. And honestly, both are absolutely crucial for navigating this new world. And the need for this is, well, it's urgent. The World Economic Forum estimates that by 2027, which is just a few years away, 44% of all employees will need some serious reskilling just to stay relevant in their jobs. That's nearly half of the entire global workforce.
So what does a good strategy for this even look like? It's not just about, throwing a bunch of online courses at your employees and hoping for the best. The companies that are really getting this right are following a pretty clear 4-step plan. First, they are mapping out how jobs are actually going to change. Second, they're building personalized learning plans for every single employee. Third, and this is a big one, they're creating a safe environment where people can learn and experiment without being afraid to fail. And finally, they're making a real commitment to promoting from within to fill these new roles.
And you know what? We have powerful proof that this approach really works. This isn't just theory. Just look at Singapore's Skills Future program, which helped people boost their wages. Or check out South Korea's K-Digital training, which has an incredible 70% success rate in finding jobs for unemployed youth. These examples show that when governments and companies really invest in reskilling, it makes a huge difference in people's lives.
Okay, so all of this, the data, the skills, the strategies, it all kind of leads to a much deeper, more personal question. As AI starts taking over more and more of the technical, repetitive tasks, what's the new role for the human professional? Well, our role is evolving, big time. We're no longer just the doers. We're becoming the strategic guides for the AI. Think of yourself as a strategic prompter, figuring out the perfect instructions to get the best possible result from an AI tool. Or maybe you're an ethical curator, making sure that what the AI spits out is accurate, fair, and unbiased. You might be the creative director, setting the big picture vision and then using AI to help bring it to life. Or maybe you're the audience empathizer, adding that human touch and understanding that a machine can never truly replicate.
So let's land the plane on this thought. The future of work, it isn't some battle of humans versus machines. It's a partnership. And in this new world, the most important question you can ask yourself is this: what is the unique human intelligence that you bring to the table? Your creativity, your empathy, your critical judgment, those are your most valuable assets. And that's something no AI can ever take away.